All right, Rebels, welcome to the beginning of something different. This is Podcaster's Business Insider, the daily show where creators stop playing small and start building like business owners. Here, we don't chase downloads for vanity. We build systems, strategies, and shows that actually pay the bills. If you've ever felt stuck recording into the void, wondering if your podcast will ever grow into something more than just a hobby, this is where the guesswork ends. Because you're not just a podcaster, you're a founder, a strategist, a builder. And together, we're going to turn your mic into a media empire. So buckle up, Pod Rebels, because clarity beats chaos, strategy beats hustle, and momentum beats perfection. Let's get into it. First and foremost, we're going to stop letting your audience vanish after the episode ends. Today, we're going to break down 3 tools that every podcaster needs to start converting, plus the latest news. Spotify launches DMs for audio sharing, and publishers debate protocols over platforms for the future of news. First and foremost, ladies and gents, boys and girls, you might be wondering, why am I starting this an hour late? To be honest, I had a contractor who just finished about 20 minutes ago. So, final touches to the new house. Final touches. We are final touches. On the inside, it's pretty much complete. There's only 2 things that I need a contractor for, 4 things that I need a contractor to come back next year to work on the inside of the house. And yet next year, we're working on the outside of the house. That's done. Let's get into the news segment of today's episode. Article number 1, Spotify ads, DMs. Let me rephrase that because that sounded terrible. Spotify adds DMs for audio sharing. Headline: Spotify introduces direct messaging to let users share audio directly in apps. Why this matters? This could change podcast discovery by turning listeners into advocates with a simple tap. Direct sharing equals organic growth. My take on this makes episodes share worthy. You can call out moments that listeners will want to DM their friends. This is, in one way, I kind of wish I had this when I was running the Fitness Oracle. You might be asking yourself, why would I want something like this during the Fitness Oracle? Well, the Fitness Oracle had a very, very specific CTA. It was to share the entire podcast episode with somebody, anybody that needed to hear that message. There wasn't a lot of thought that went into that. That's fine. I mean, the intention was there for somebody to not to do something that can't be undone. This news from Spotify, where they're adding DMs to audio sharing, is pretty good because now the listener can actually segment their own thing and say, oh, this is really good. Now let me DM this to somebody. Maybe it might help them in their life in one way or another. Because I apologize. It's been a long, long day today. That's basically why we're in the content creation space, is to help people become better versions of themselves in one aspect of their life. For me, it was with the Fitness Oracle, it was more on the lines of not to do something too terrible that can't be undone again. Everything can be undone, no matter how bad you've messed up in your past. It can be fixed, except for the one thing. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to give it power. And if you are listening to this and you think that you are down on your luck, just know that you have purpose. If you wake up in the morning, you have purpose for today. And that's all that matters. Yesterday, the door is closed. No longer. Tomorrow, that door hasn't opened yet. All that matters is right now. If you are watching this or if you're listening to this, you matter. Your voice matters. That's why I'm doing Podcasters Business Insider. It's to let you know that your voice matters. Your podcast matters. And for you not to fall into the same traps that I fell into when I first started podcasting. So always have that in mind, okay? Article number 2, protocols over platforms for news publishers. Nieman Lab reports publishers are exploring protocols instead of platforms for the next internet. Why this matters? This shift could reduce dependence on social media giants. For podcasters, it signals a more open ecosystem where owning your audience is everything. I don't know how much more I can harp on building your control over your assets. What are your assets? We've gone over them, and I'll go over them again. Your email list, your feed, your RSS feed, your community. Platforms can vanish. Protocols endure. YouTube came into existence, I think it was 2008, maybe even sooner than that. I think it was sooner than 2008. But that's when YouTube really started to take off. Everything in this world has an expiry date. Email started in 1992 or 3, and it's still relevant. Your email list, your RSS feed will always be in existence. The Fitness Oracle, done. Not dead, but done for now. However, I still have the email list, and I still have my RSS feed. Facebook could go the way of the dodo bird. I don't see it happening anytime soon, but it is quite possible. Twitter, LinkedIn, or X now, LinkedIn, TikTok, Discord, all of these can go the way of the dodo bird. Rumble, YouTube, all of them could go vanish. I don't see it happening anytime soon, but there's always that possibility. Stuff like your email list, your RSS feed, and your community, those things will never go. So as you're building your podcast, understand that the value isn't in, there is value obviously in social media, because without it, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I'm not knocking it. I think it's great that we have a social outreach like this. And I think it's fantastic. And this social outreach for Podcasters Business Insider will grow to a larger ecosystem. However, the hard coding stuff that I'm doing, trying to build my email list, trying to build the community, trying to establish an RSS feed, all of that's not that I take with me. I take that with me. That is mine. So understand that. All right, let's get into today's topics. Our main theme for the episode. We're going to talk about conversion stacks. Three tools that will turn listeners into buyers. You don't need a 12-step funnel or a 10K agency to do what you need to get done. My step funnel is, I do have a step funnel. I finalized all the programs today, and I'm going to be working on the cold audience outreach. I'm going to get the framework done today. So tomorrow I have something to work off of. But basically what you need are three things in order for you to start converting. You don't even need a $10,000 agency backing you for this. This is something that you can do off of a simple email. Like, I use MailerLite. I think MailerLite is fantastic. I think it's a tool that everybody should have. If not MailerLite, something similar. ConvertKit, MailChimp. MailChimp I used. I wasn't happy with it. It was very expensive. Very expensive. Brevo. All these toolkits are really, really good. And there's hundreds of them. And you can create your own little funnel using that. So basically, what do you need? You need a place to land. You need to send somebody somewhere to do something. If you have a business and you're selling water bottles, just as an example, you're selling water bottles. You need a place of business to bring customers in so that they can see your water bottles. Does that make sense? It's the same thing with online businesses. Content creators, podcasters, YouTube live streamers. You need to send your listeners to somewhere to go to. You can't just have them go off into the ether. I have two places that I want you guys to go to after today's show. I want you, one, to go to the 7-day podcast. 7-day podcast business blueprint. That's one place. The other place I want you to go to is podcasters, the Rebel Intel newsletter. Those are two places. You're going to get two things that are for free. One is extremely valuable, and the other one's going to be even more valuable. Because the Mike to Millions 7-day podcast business blueprint, the beta is ending on Friday. I'm ending the beta on Friday. Maybe Friday. Friday is the end that I'm going to be offering it. So if you want in, just click on the link, highlight the link, copy it into your URL, get the blueprint, get your podcast up and running. Which segues us into the second thing that you need. An opt-in. And you need to give them, I mean your avatar, the person that you're talking to, a reason to opt in. Just like I did just now. You opt into the Mike to Millions 7-day podcast business blueprint. You get your podcast up and running with 7 episodes planned out for the next 7 weeks. That's what you get. And your podcast is already set up because you've done the work over 7 days. It takes a lot longer. There's a lot of other stuff that needs to go, but you can build those stuff on top of on top of the foundation that you created, which leads us into the third thing that you need to do. Have an automated follow-up system so that you can keep in contact with your audience. That's another thing that we're going to be working on once we're done with the campaign for social media. That's the next phase for us, is that follow-up sequence. Once you download the 15-point checklist, gone through the 3-day, your big idea boot camp, then you go through the 5-day podcast fast track, and then you go through the 7-day. It's that follow-up sequence that happens at the 7-day podcast. So do you see how that transition? And each of those 3 programs, there's follow-up sequences. If you don't go move into the next one, there is a follow-up sequence for 7-day podcast blueprint if you don't sign on to the big stuff, but I haven't worked on that program yet. So there's no reason for me to probably start work on it in October. There's a lot that I need to get done. And that's for Underdog Media, which is another division of TechForge Media. Too many divisions. I think I might just have to simplify it. All right. Conversion stacks. Here's what we need to work on. 3 tools that are going to help you with this beautiful little flow. Wonderful little flow. MailerLite. I've talked about MailerLite. I will send a link with this recording. MailerLite will be in there. It's simple. It's free for up to 1,000 contacts. You can build lead magnets, welcome sequences, launch series. One example, other than my example that I just gave you, because we're almost done this sequence to get to the 7-day podcast business blueprint. Another is the Future Belongs to Creators newsletter. Built 30,000 plus list with podcast and lead magnet CTA. They did it with 30,000. They have 30,000 lists, and they used MailerLite, email automations. Same thing that we're doing. The same thing that we're setting up here, and it's all set up for us right now. Everything is set up. You just have to highlight, click the link, and set up, and you'll start to see the sequence yourself. So the next tool that you can utilize is ThriveCart Learn. It's a product and funnel builder. It's a one-time cost, no monthly fees, host free or paid content, and you can do mini courses, lead magnets, and trainings. Example, Marion Wagner used a $27 podcast mini course to generate $1,000 per month from 150 listeners. This is good. However, you can do the same thing with MailerLite and Stripe. I'm just using MailerLite and Stripe and Make. And I'm not paying. The only subscription that I have is Make. That's it. Stripe is free. So, and the last tool, Tally Forms. It's for lead captures and qualifications. Free customizable forms. And you can embed surveys, applications, quiz funnels. One example is Justin Moore, Creator Wizard, used podcast episode CTA for guest application forms to high quality conversions and deals. We use Microsoft Forms. Why? Because it's included with Microsoft with Microsoft Office. You can use tally forms, but if you already have a subscription with Microsoft and their Office suite, and most places do, Google has it too, which I think is free. Yeah, I believe it's free. Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, Tally Forms. There's a lot of tools out there that you can create all this stuff for yourself so that you can utilize and monetize on your business, because on your podcast, which is supposed to be a business. Anybody who treats a podcast as a hobby, you're going to get paid the way you treat your podcast. Bottom line. While you're starting off, it is a good idea to have cheaper tools, more cost-efficient tools. And if the cost efficiency means you're not paying anything and or you're already utilizing one form or another of that product, like Microsoft Office has OneDrive, your Outlook address, it has forms, it has all these other amazing tools. I heavily utilize OneDrive, Microsoft Forms, heavily utilize them. I also have the calendar. I have their Office suite, so I use it. I don't need to go to Tally Forms. I already have something that I can make forms, and it's okay. It's not as pretty as Tally Forms, but I mean, I'm not going for pretty. I'm going for efficiency right now. When the time for pretty comes, then and I have the money to buy pretty, well, okay, I'll buy pretty. But right now, it's efficiency, and that's what you need to understand for yourself. What you need to understand is that you need to create the right stack to help keep listeners moving forward in the listener journey. Because if there's no clear pathway, like I talked about yesterday, if there's no clear pathway for your listener to follow, they'll just fizzle into the stratosphere. And good luck trying to get them back again. It costs 10 times more to find a new client than it does to keep a client, customer, listener. And believe me, it does cost a lot of money to get a new listener. But it doesn't have to. Because if you can take that new listener that you got, let's say you get 100 new listeners. Out of those 100 new listeners, you get, let's say you're a rock star and you get 25%. 25% of those listeners, let's say 75% of those listeners, they download the free stuff. That's not going to happen. You're probably looking for the free stuff. You're probably looking at about 30 to 40. Okay, 30 to 40. Let's be conservative and you get 40 people. 40% get the new the free stuff that you give. Out of that 40%, probably another 25% of them are going to buy something from you. Out of that 25%, so now let me do some math here. So you got 40 listeners and 25% of them buy. So that's 10 people that have bought something from you. Of those 10 people, 10% are going to buy something very expensive from you. So you're looking at one person. From 100, you're down to one person who's technically has the potential to become a super fan. Out of 100, only 1% will become a super fan. I just want you to try and wrap your head around that. Okay, it's not like that you're putting out bad content It's just how the numbers historically are being run. And if you don't have the proper journey for them to follow, that goes to zero right away, right from the very beginning. You go from 100 listeners to zero, and 0% and 40% of zero is zero. 20% of that zero is still zero. 10% of that zero, still zero. So what you want to do is have that clear pathway from beginning to end. And if you're clear on all those steps, and you express it to them, and it's easy for them to understand, you have this piece of social media marketing that's speaking about one thing, and it goes to one checklist or one whatever. And now one checklist goes to one free program to put the checklist together. And that one free program goes to another free program that builds on the smaller program. And that program that you just created, another one, and you go into further detail and then further detail. But it's all going into one item. For me, it is for you to be able to have a podcast that's paying your bills, where you can decide whether or not you need your full-time job. That's the end goal of Podcasters Business Insider. Control Alt Elite, totally different. Underdog Media, totally different. I wouldn't say totally. Everything ties in. Everything ties into Tech Forge Media Group. But the end goal for all three are different. And if you do go through my stuff, you will see that progression to the point where, okay, yeah, now I see where John is going and how I got here. It's crystal clear how he helped me get from want to be a podcaster to I am now having a podcast that I can quit my day job. So that's the conversion that I'm trying to implement on your life. Give you more freedom, more time with your family, more time with your loved ones, more time with yourself. If you want to travel for 6 months and go to Bali and travel all of Indonesia, you have the ability to do so financially and time-wise. My end goal is not to be in Toronto, it's to be in Europe. So the three things that I want you guys to take away from today, and I want you to build your mini conversion stack. Create a MailerLite account. Use the link that I'm going to copy and paste into here. That will get you started. And set up your lead magnet delivery. Even better, as a bonus, use ChatGPT to help you really nail down your lead magnet. And remember, start from the beginning and work your way backwards. I'm creating 45 lead magnets that go to one free checklist. 45. You think I can do that by myself? I can't do that by myself. I am getting help. So use Tally to build a listener survey or an opt-in quiz. Doesn't have to be Tally. Google Forms actually you can use Google Forms. It's free. Or if you have a paid subscription to Microsoft for your home or for your personal use, you can use Microsoft Forms for it, and it will generate all the stuff for you. It can be Tally if you want to spend the extra money. That's totally up to you. And Draft your first offer page using ThriveCart Learn or a similar platform. You can actually, you don't have to use ThriveCart. You can use MailerLite. You can use MailerLite to create your landing pages. I'm using MailerLite to create landing pages, and I can create forms in MailerLite to attach the landing page to the automations and update the subscribers into segmented groups so that I know where my customers are and what they're doing and what to offer them and what not to offer them. MailerLite is a super powerful tool. I'm shocked. I wish I knew about this years ago. I'm happy I found it now. That's all that I said. Yesterday, the door is closed. It happened. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet, so I'm not going to be worried about it. All I'm focused on is today. So if you want deeper strategies like this, plus exclusive growth playbooks, sign up for the free Rebel Intel newsletter. Every other week, we deliver insights straight into your inbox so you can stop guessing and start growing. Now, I know I told you guys about this a little bit earlier. We do have the Mike to Millions 7-day podcast blueprint, which is still currently in beta. If you want to sign up to test this and give me your feedback, which I humbly and really, really want you to do it because it does help. It helps me with the program to offer you the most value I can offer you, because this is after Friday, there will be a paywall. I'm sorry. We need to make a little bit of money. We're in the red, deeply in the red. And we need to cover our costs one way or another. If I could give this stuff for free, I would. But podcasting and live streaming, not free. It is designed to take you from launch to revenue in 1 week. And while it's still free for the next 4 days, and there's only 4 more days where I'm going to have it for free. After this, it's live and paywall. I say hop on it. We got 4 subscribers so far that are going through, 4 people that are going through it right now. Yeah. Let me get you some numbers here. I'll get you some real numbers here. Four people in the beta. We're looking for 1 or 2 more people within the next couple of days. I love to keep it with 4 people, but if you don't want it, I mean, that's fine. You can, next week you pay for it. It isn't going to be a lot. It's not going to kill the bank book. You're not going to go out of, you're not going to be homeless because of it. I'm not a believer in that. This program, I should be charging a lot more than what I'm going to be charging, but it's just how I want to run things. A lot of value for not that much. Not yet. There's still more stuff in the workflow later on in the next couple of months where we got to start making some money. This is a business after all. Tomorrow, we're crushing the fear of selling with a mindset shift that'll change the way you show up as a host and a business owner. So stay tuned for that. And it's Wednesday mindset day. So it's going to be pretty cool. And I'm very excited for that. So until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and you guys have an awesome night and have a productive day tomorrow.